Now here in Australia, it's very rare for us to get a new cichlid because in general, cichlids are illegal to import into Australia, which means for a new species to arrive here, they must arrive in creative ways that are very risky for the person importing them. So here we have a white cichlid, also known as a silver cichlid. And these are not common in Australia. These are a very new addition to the list of cichlids here in Australia. Now here in Australia we do not encourage crossbreeding because we have very few species of cichlid available here and we cannot get new blood. So I'm often making videos disencouraging Australians to crossbreed, in which people from overseas love to harass me for, but they don't understand what it's like to be here because we can't just get new ones. If everyone goes crossing all the different species, then it means that the purity of the fish that we have are jeopardized, because if you cross one and then someone else breeds that one with a full one and it just slowly dilutes the lines, particularly people that don't know what they're doing, and they call it a certain fish, sell it as a certain fish, mix it with the real thing, and then dilute them all. And here in Australia, we just really can't afford for that to happen because we have to look after the purity of our fish. Otherwise, if they get diluted and bred out, then they're not coming back because we can't get more. Not without massive risk, personal risk. So anyway, here's something new. The white cichlid, it's a Mexican fish. It's very easy to keep, really tough, pretty aggressive. The male gets a bigger lump on its head and longer fins, but really beautiful, really beautiful. Cichlid market in Australia is pretty small, so a fish like this will have a value, and then you breed it once and you end up with 300 or 400 babies, and the whole Australian cichlid market will have trouble buying those 300 or 400 babies. So you might have paid a fair bit for the parents, but one successful breed will flood the market. So it really takes people to be diligent to keep breeding fish because of the love of breeding fish, and to look after the fish to keep them in our hobby, not just breed fish for money. Because if you're trying to get a certain price for your fish and you sell them all off, you're going to drop the price. But if that means nobody's going to breed them anymore just because the price dropped, then that line of fish might die out, as we've seen happen over and over again, and then we dip out. We don't have the fish anymore. And cichlids are very much at risk in Australia because people really aren't breeding like they used to. In the old days, someone would get a fish and they'd enjoy it and they'd get another tank, and then the fish would breed and then they'd think they're an expert, then they get another tank, and then next thing you know they've got a whole bunch of tanks, then they've got a garage full of tanks. But people just don't do that anymore. People are so space conscious that a lot of people have display tanks, but they don't have the second, third, fourth, fifth tank, which is where all the breeding used to occur. So we have to look after our fish, or we'll just have one big muddled up Australian bred mongrel cichlid.